Hi, it's Deb with Simply Successful Kids. Today I'm interviewing Jennifer Van Wy. Her daughter Grace went through our West Michigan Simply Successful Kids workshop. Jen, what made you look for something like Simply Successful Kids for Grace?
Well, my daughter Grace, we had a lot of years and years of struggles with her, and I'm pretty sure a lot of it was stress related, although we weren't quite sure what it was. It started back in first grade. She was having a really hard time in school. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. She had a hard time focusing on her schoolwork. She was getting into a lot of trouble. She was easily distracted, and she just had a hard time learning in the classroom. So with the help of her teachers and lots of therapists from the school, we started getting her evaluated, and they eventually figured out that she had ADHD, but it was also coupled with dysthymia, which is a low-grade depression, anxiety, and then also Tourette's. So if you get those together, you can see why she was struggling in school. So we tried to get her a lot of help. She met with doctors, therapists, counselors, and then eventually we ended up trying a bunch of different medications with her too. The thing we found is that when she would meet with counselors or try meds, that things would work for a while, but then eventually like the medications would have side effects and she couldn't tolerate the meds anymore, so we'd have to stop and try a different med. She'd meet with different counselors and she enjoyed meeting with them, but it didn't really help her long term with anything. It was really hard as a parent because we were trying to get her help. We were paying lots of money to get her help, and it just like she continued to struggle, and we didn't know exactly why.
So you mentioned that Grace was in the principal's office a lot, and I think you said that you actually ended up pulling her out of elementary school and homeschooling her.
Yes. So she ended up switching schools in third grade to a new school where I thought she would get a lot more help, and she did. But at that point, she also started to pull out her hair, and that continued through halfway through fifth grade, and it just continued to get worse and worse. So I pulled her out. We started homeschooling, and the homeschooling went better as far as that she stopped pulling her hair. Like her hair pulling got a lot better. However, she continued to still get very stressed out at home as far as when we would try to do math and science and stuff like that.
So Jen, can you give an example of what stress looked like for Grace?
So when a good example is when we would try to do math, she would just shut down. She'd tell me, "Mom, I can't think. I'm trying really, really hard, but I can't do this. I forgot how to do it." And it would be like simple multiplication, things like that I knew she knew. And so it was really frustrating as a parent because I was trying to help her do math, knowing she should know this, and she just couldn't remember it.
So at the time that that was happening, even though you were a nurse, it was really difficult for you to recognize that that was actually the stress response shutting your child's brain down.
Exactly, yes.
So when Grace came to the workshop, talk about some of the things she learned and what her experience was.
Okay, so when Grace came to the workshop the first week, Deb and Beth introduced themselves to her, and they also explained to her the stress response in the body, and then just different ways that the stress response shows itself up in her body.
So one of the ways that Grace was able to tune in was by just being able to recognize what was happening in her body.
Right, exactly. And then that following week, you guys had a bunch of journals for her to do. And that's where she started to journal out all her feelings that she was having throughout the week. And then the following week, she went to the group, and then she was able to talk to you guys about what she was feeling, the stress response she was finding in her body. And then that second week, she got some tools from you guys on how to start to deal with that stress, identify it, and then how to deal with it. And she was so happy.
So Grace was able to make some really profound changes in her daily routine very quick. So what are some of the things that Grace found to be super helpful for her?
She recognizes right away now when she's starting to feel stressed out. She'll just say, "Mom, I don't know why, but I'm feeling stressed right now." And so she'll tell me that, and then that's our cue that she needs to try some of the techniques. So she'll say that to me, and I'll say, okay, let's try breathing. And so we'll try the balloon breathing. And if that doesn't work, then we'll try marching or crazy eights or different techniques that you guys have taught us.
So it's really changed your relationship from a parent who's nagging to a parent who's coaching.
Exactly, yes. And the cool thing is that I have 2 other children, and I've been able to use the same stress techniques on them as well. So like if our whole family is starting to feel stressed or anxious, then I just say, time out everybody, let's start doing the marching or the breathing, and then everybody calms down, and our family is so much more peaceful now.
So you've used the online program to help the rest of your family. Grace took our workshop in person with other kids in her age group, but how has that worked out, and how much time has it taken your family?
Okay, so the online program is a lot like the workshop program. The online program, basically you watch a video, and then the kids do a journal throughout the week, and it goes along with the video. The video takes about 20 minutes to watch, and in the video they teach about the stress response, just like they do in the classes, and then they take a little quiz afterwards to make sure they understood what the video was talking about, and then they do the journal throughout the week. And then there's a parent guide, kind of like with a 6-week class, which explains what the video talked about to the children. And it also gives me as a parent some ideas on how I can coach my kids along.
So one of Grace's favorite tools was journaling. She loves to write.
Yeah.
So how about your other kids? Do they love it too?
Okay, so this is really cool. The journal is very easy to fill out. It does not have to take a whole lot of time. There's an option either to write or to draw a picture, or even like some of the journals are just a scale and you fill out how you're feeling on a scale. So it's very open-ended on how these kids can write down how they're feeling. I have different kids and they all like to do different things. Grace loved to write everything out. My one daughter liked to draw pictures of how she was feeling. And then my son does a little bit of both.
So journaling is just one of the tools that's in the program, and it is written into the program during the 6 weeks, but afterwards you can choose whether or not you want to keep going with it. I assume Grace has kept going.
She sometimes journals. Actually, she's during the initial 6 weeks, she did all her journaling, got all her feelings out. And she hasn't had to journal as much, and she's switched more over to doing a lot of the techniques that she learned. Especially she likes to do the relaxation techniques.
So how much time does it take your family? You said there was a 20-minute video in the parent resources. How much time does it take every week for you to do this total?
Well, the video day is a little longer, so you just plan for that. So the video takes about 20 minutes, and then the daily routine, if my kids do the exercises and the journal, it takes about 10 minutes a day.
So do you find that you've gotten that time investment back in terms of how you're spending your day?
Oh, definitely. Yep.
So talk a little bit about that.
As far as like for my kids, when our family used to get stressed out, it was just like we would, it's like we wouldn't get anything done because everybody was fighting with each other, and instead of like calming each other down, we just started to ramp up, and the stress would just get more and more and more. Well, when we started using the techniques, now everybody can calm down within 5 minutes because we just do different techniques until everybody's calmed down, and we go on with our day. So we have been able to do so much more every day because we're not sitting there stressed out. My son is a good example. He used to cry all the time. Things would make him emotional. So when he starts to get emotional, now we just have him start breathing and do a technique, and then he calms himself down and we can go on with our day. Otherwise, it could have been a couple hours before he would be calm.
So how has Grace's academic life changed?
Oh, she loves school now. Math is now her favorite subject. And when she gets stressed out in math now, I've learned that we just take a break and then we come back to it. And the Simply Successful Kids also has a Facebook page where Deb and Beth put all kinds of parenting resources. And I've used those a lot, and they've helped me figure out different ways too as a parent to understand why my kids are getting stressed out, and different ways of just basically, bottom line is to give my kids time to relax and to figure out how to deal with their stress, and then to go back to things. Because if you have a stressed out kid and you continue to push them, it's not going to get any better.
They don't learn, they don't process, they can't problem solve, and really truly you are wasting your time.
Yes.
It's like you butt heads, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So Jen, what advice would you give parents if they're on the fence of trying this?
I would say give it a try. I know what it's like to have a child that's anxious, that feels sad all the time, is frustrated, and can't figure out why she feels the way she does. And as a parent, it's really, really hard. I remember feeling alone and not knowing what to do. And this program really gave our family a lot of hope. Grace is a new girl now. She's happy. She's successful. She's eager to take on life. She's confident. And these were things that 6 months ago she was afraid to try anything. She couldn't even get through a math lesson, and now math is her favorite subject. So I think if you're on the fence, just give it a try. It's worth it, and it's a whole lot cheaper than trying to go through years of counseling and doctor visits and medications. Grace is off all her meds now too, so it's just, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. I'm sure our parents are going to love listening to your testimony. Jennifer has loved Simply Successful so much, and it has made such a change in Grace's life. She's actually one of our parent advocates. So if you have questions for Jennifer or for Beth or I, you can reach us at support@simplysuccessfulprogram.com, and we'll get back to you just as quickly as we can. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.